Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Lambda Ethereum Consensus Daily. I'm going to start, as always, sharing the link to the YouTube Live. So, give me a second. Awesome. It's already on Telegram. Okay, so updates. First, again, thanks to me to be here. And I was working yesterday in the beginning of the day, trying to reproduce what I saw both on the main spec and the minimal spec regarding missed blocks, right? So we discussed a lot yesterday with Tommy that this was happening, especially with we are like a lot of validators in the network, and I pinpoint that. So the rest of the day, I was trying to the first hours make sure that I get what was happening, and if I wasn't able to do it, I were going to separate the peers into two and just tackle the things that are already here. That was look ahead and message production, and then let the other for another peer. But 2 hours into fighting this, I found the issue related to the minimal spec. So the issue was very similar to the one we were having with attestations. It was an invalid signature. I wasn't able to see the invalid signature error that I saw in attestations the other time because we are not actually checking the sync aggregate because it's not already aggregated in our blocks. But the other nodes were seeing it, and they were like avoiding what we were publishing after that. So that was the issue. Why? Because we have the same, so we have already an issue created for tackling this in attestations. There is something that generates more than one attestation in the subnet info. And regarding that, we have the problem that we aggregate the signatures, and if we don't make a unique of that, the signature is not the correct one. This happened exactly the same in the sync committee contribution. So fixing that, everything started to work, and minimal is working, and it's not just like creating the aggregates and allowing us to publish blocks, but the other nodes are picking our aggregates in the subcommittees. We are the only aggregators. So I was able to test that. It's not like 100%, so we are missing some of even ours sync committee message, but that's probably related to the same issue that is related the attestations, right? So we have something with subnets that probably need to be tackled, and yeah, that's not the main issue here. The thing is that we are now being picked up by others, and the others saw our contributions. So that's great, but it's not working on the main spec. And when I spend the rest of the day looking at the main spec and trying to pinpoint what's happening, one of the things that I got is that this error is not related to us being a lot of validators, but that make it easy for this to happen. The error happens because we are the only aggregators in a particular subcommittee. So when there is no other aggregators in a particular subcommittee, these start to happen. Missed blocks start to happen after we publish one contribution that is badly configured. So in minimal, it was these double messages being aggregated in the signature. There was something similar happening on the main spec. And it was the other way around, because once we remove the uniques, something that happens in sync committee that doesn't happen in attestation is that one specific validator could be in more than one position in the same sync subcommittee. And its signature need to be more than once aggregated in that signature. So that was what I have like the insight in the end of the day yesterday. I was able to test it today, and it worked. So we are now not generating more missed blocks, neither in minimal nor in main. I'm having another issues in main that doesn't happen in minimal. They are related to the sync message broadcasting itself. I still need to find what is happening, but we are like miles ahead what was happening yesterday and the obscurity of yesterday. So I hope to have more clarity today and being able to solve this. But yeah, uh, we are in a lot better spot than we were yesterday. But I'm still having to figure out what is happening regarding the message broadcasting, and it's taking a lot of time. I think it's because something is not working correctly, not because we are having performance issues, because trying to measure the things that should be taking a lot of time, they are not taking like any time at all. So yeah, there is something not working well now that was working well in the main branch. So it's totally part of this PR and probably regarding the duties modification that I made to be able to calculate aggregations. So yeah, I'm going to deep dive into all of this today.
That sounds amazing. Congrats for the progress. We are definitely in a very different place today than we were tomorrow. Uh, so yeah, but basically, the main bugs are solved. We don't have different issues.
No, yeah,
New
yeah.
issues is always good progress.
Yes. The obscure ones regarding the signatures are regarding what happened with Mr. Block that it was related to signatures are solved. So yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I need to look at why we are still not publishing a lot of things in the main spec, but I hope to have it solved today. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's amazing. So a couple of questions just to make sure I understand everything. The first one, well, the first ones are not to understand, are just like a process question, which is how did you actually came to the knowledge or the realization that the problem were signatures? Like the last time, did you have an eureka moment where you just said,
Yes.
hey, last time this failed, maybe it's the same thing? Was it something like that?
It was exactly that. I was like in front of the monitor looking at the code and not having an idea of where to go next. And I was like, it's the same thing that happened last time. And just like change that line of code, test it, and work it. It was, yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
Reg-
Why? Because
Regarding the other, yeah,
the,
sorry, go.
the other parts came later. Like, okay, this makes sense, right? We are not seeing the signature validator error because we are not checking that signature in the sync aggregates, and the other nodes
Mm.
are acting exactly the same that they acted when we have the validator signature error, but now we don't see the error. That's why we continue publishing blocks. So yes, it makes sense, but the moment was an Eureka moment, not
So
not a rational one.
a very small question there about the behavior of the other nodes. Do
Yes.
they just discard that message, or do they discard us as peers?
I don't know. I don't know. I assume they discarded us as peers, but that's something that I was writing what was happening. I don't know the root cause of why they do what they do. Right. So I don't know
Right.
why they given that we have a validator, a signature validator error, they decided to stop looking at our blocks. And also, I I don't know why this only happens when we are the only aggregator. So if there are other aggregators and we publish our contributions, even if they were invalid, we don't have any problems. So the
Mm,
problem is when we are the only ones. Uh, yeah.
interesting.
Yes. I so
It would also be interesting, like this is definitely for another time, but it would also be interesting to test with other consensus clients, like different, to see if their logs are different and if any of them have logs that are more readable by us. I
yes,
don't know which were the ones. Yeah.
I only tested with Lighthouse. So yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good.
that's perfectly reasonable. It's a perfectly good consensus node. But we can check, like maybe we can check with Lighthouse, then with Prism, and that may be helpful to debug better if a single node is not producing logs that help us. This doesn't mean that they will. I mean,
Yes.
they are fully independent from us.
It's
Yeah,
a good point to take a
yeah,
look at. Yes, I didn't like dig into why this happened. I understood what happened, but didn't go
yeah.
into why. So yeah, it's something that we need to understand probably later. Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, that's perfect. And also, like, I get that this was this was very similar to this to the error that you had the last time, which was like the signatures, the unique
Yes,
signatures.
yes.
How did you figure out the other one that was not the same as the last time, or
Well,
was that also present last time?
No. The other wasn't present last time, but now I had a lot of information, right? So I had the
Yeah.
information that when we mess with contributions, things started to stop processing our blogs, even if we are
Yeah.
when we are publishing it. So the first thing I get into was, okay, I'm making something badly, but looking at how the contribution was made, everything appears to be correct. So the only two things that could be wrong were the signature, both the signature of the aggregate and proof, and the signature of the contribution itself. And the
Right.
only one that has like a behavior in itself is the contribution. So then I have another eureka moment when it was like, hey, in main spec, we had duplicated validators in the same subcommittee. That doesn't happen in minimal. And given that that was the first thing that came to my mind that wasn't happening in minimal and was happening in I just tested and yes, it worked.
Is there? Yeah, that's a perfectly good reason. It's basically, hey, like thinking, hey, what changed? What changes from this that works and this that doesn't work? Let's get the diff, see if there's something that I can take off that. That's perfect. Is there any chance that any of these could have appeared in well-prepared unit tests, like for the aggregation, like for the generation of the sync committee contributions and that kind of stuff, or is that something that is not? It's just not possible.
So we can, for example, we don't have yet unit test for the validators. One of the things that we talked about is probably we need a smoke test for the whole validators. Right now, that smoke test is like manual, is what I'm doing when I start kurtosis. But one thing that
No,
could
yeah, I
show
mean,
this
those are
for
separate
sure,
things. Like,
no,
sorry, go
one
ahead.
thing that could show this for sure is
Yeah.
if we were checking the signatures in the blocks, right? Because
Yeah.
if we were taking the aggregates in the blocks and checking the signatures, we will be seeing the same validation, the same signature error that we saw in attestations. That time when I saw that signature error in attestations, I have a lot less knowledge that I have now of the protocol. So that took a lot of time. I if I if now I saw one of those validate signature errors, I would immediately thought that that was the culprit of us being like removed from the next blocks proposal. So yeah, I would see that we weren't going to publish that block. That's something that will happen. We weren't going to publish it, and yes, that's a particular test that could uh, make this like seen, right? But yeah, that's not yet implemented. So
No. I mean, smoke tests would definitely be helpful, but those are really like a next step.
yes,
But I was wondering, some of this functionality, I think, let me know if I'm wrong, some of this functionality is almost pure, right? Like the generation of the contributions given a store is something
yes,
that is almost pure, right?
yes,
And the only way where this gets corrupted is when you start getting messages from gossip and then you have duplicated signatures and stuff like that,
yes,
right?
yes. For example, yes,
Yeah. But at the same time, if you take apart like take apart the networking and only focus on the validator part, then that's also pure because you get you get a sync committee message, and then you process it, and then you change whatever internal state you have. And what you could check, like in a unit test, would be, hey, I'm getting this message, it's duplicated, my signature is not getting destroyed by this. Um,
yes,
I'm not saying that this is the way that we should have gone into, because that's contrafactical history. That's never a good way to take things. But it's just worth noting that maybe some of these could benefit from these kind of things.
yes.
Uh,
One of the things that I so the first issue that I saw with that is that for making the validation of the signature, I need to implement the spec for actually processing it in the blocks. So maybe
yeah,
so I just like, hey, if I'm going to do this, I already know how to do it. If I already know how to do it, then I just put it in the block processing, and then
of
I think
course.
that the block processing works. That's I guess that would be my chain of thought in that case. That's why I relied in the other nodes picking up ours because I don't have the spec already implemented. And if I implement the spec, probably I want to implement it directly on block processing and testing block processing working, because I should see that if we are generating the sync committee contributions and the block is processing, all is great. But yeah, I think that's the what is first, right? But yeah, I agree that this could be clearly pointed by a test implementing the spec of validating these sync committee contributions. Yes, agree.
Yeah. It's also, I think, a big shout out to, like, I mean, shout out is definitely not a word. This is a big, like, note that there should be spec tests for the validation part. Like, we only have spec tests for the state transition, right? But we have nothing for the validation. So that's, yeah, maybe work for a future day, and we can contribute to the Ethereum specs by building something like that. But that's definitely like way into the future after we launch this node, right?
Yes, no, but I agree, because we have, so we did a lot of refactors in a couple of peers previously, and having that parts testing as part of an spec is great for you could just focus on performance, right? You focus on performance, things are working because the tests are, yes, this is working. So yes, it would be awesome to have something like that. And yeah, I agree that it could be good to, at least for these kind of things that, as you mentioned, are poor, because when we have the different aggregations and the sync committee message produced by us, we can like just aggregate them and check that the aggregation is correct. That's totally doable without needing a network. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. Sorry for extending the meeting. I was just wondering.
No. I guess it's great, because this is a great ping pong, and to make clear what happened and why, and if there was a way to avoid this in the future, right? So it helped that I already see something that was similar to this, and that's what sparked the, okay, this should be it. But yeah, it will be better if it was automatic, right? So
yeah. But awesome. I'm very happy that you solved the issue. So congrats on that.
Yeah. So, well, I'm going to try to continue today on the other things that shouldn't. So they shouldn't be so obscure, because they are related to probably something that changed in the duties, because a couple of things changed and are suboptimal. So I have a pretty good intuition that was where the things are coming right now. And yeah, after that, it's just cleaning up the things and making the PR ready for review, and hopefully we have like the whole from production to look ahead, production, and broadcast of contribution. So that will be great.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's all for me. I don't know if you have any more questions, Tommy, or other things that you want to discuss.
Nope, already asked them.
Oh, I have one. I remember one for you. So there is a PR open by Leo Seed, I guess, and it was related to the DB macro kind of refactor. It was an issue that he created a lot of time ago. He made the change. He went with like just going with functions instead of macros, and proposed that, and just wanted to hear our thoughts. I didn't went through it yet, so I could go through it later. But
I can give it a read. Yeah.
Okay, if you can, that would be awesome. But if not, I could, like, at the end of the day, trying to give it a look to it.
No, of course. I mean, I think that what you're doing right now is way more valuable than this. So I can just take a look. And I am the one that started the issue, so I might as well read
Awesome.
the PR for that.
Awesome. Thanks. He mostly, like, if I read it correctly, he has one example, and if we are good with it, he will continue and make it for the others. So
nice.
Great. Thanks, Tommy. And
Well,
yeah,
contribution for anyone that actually made the PR. I'm going to review it,
yes, yes,
but thanks for starting one.
yes, yes. Great. So yeah, I think that's all for me. So we can give it a close now, and yeah, we hope to see you again tomorrow.